here for the summer. I think that as we transition from faith to faith and glory to glory, each little season and sub season has its own particular word. And this is going to be a word that I feel like a lot of you guys are going to come back to and replay more than once. And I don't say that often. You can look back in my history and see I might not say that much at all. Shout out to the clickers. By that, I mean these are the people who click on and stay on. When they see the thumbnail, they automatically click. One of the biggest ways to give to us is to not only click when you see us. Close A, long time no see. One of the biggest ways to do that is click when you see us and stay all the way on to the end. We have a lot of people you may see in the comments that say, this video wasn't particularly for me, but they still like, they still share, they still comment, and they still watch to the end because they know that's one of the ways that you give. So we appreciate that all. But share this with somebody. I'm not going to be so spooky deep that they can't get it. It's something for everybody, but this is very transitional. This is important because we're dealing with the mindset that it's going to take to pull down the vision that you see. We're dealing with the mindset that it's going to take. There ain't no muscle that's going to do it bigger than the muscle of the mind. I'm going to read. Hebrews 11:7 says, by faith, Noah, when warned about things not yet seen, in holy fear built an ark to save his family. By his faith, he condemned the world and became heir of the righteousness that is in keeping with faith. I know there's a lot of people that's probably heard the story of Noah, and I'm not going to go too deep in there, but this story is in Genesis originally, and up until that point, some people say they had never seen any rain. Imagine God give you a word to build this huge ark for your family, and up until that point, nobody's ever seen rain. Nobody's ever seen a flood of magnitude. I'm going to digress. What's up, someone hasn't said? What's up, Esther Cooper? What's up, No Time For It? I'm going to digress. One thing about me, and this is where I get the title from, my social battery is going to get drained, and I'm going to be ready to go. Okay? That's why when I go places, one of the first things I'm going to do, when I go to events, one of the first things I'm going to do, please watch later. Thank you so much. One of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to get the program. I'm going to get the program, not so I can take it and keep it as a keepsake, not so that I can take it and be nosy. But when I go places, I'm going to get the program because I want to keep up with everything that's happening so I know when we about to leave. I like to follow along so I know when it's time to go. And don't nothing burn my grits more than I'm following along in the program and something happens outside of what is listed. Somebody go too long, somebody go in a place that ain't their place, something that's a name right here that's supposed to be doing something, but the person up here ain't the name, it don't match. See, my brain can't take that stuff. It start short wiring and firing off because it's outside of the program. And it's a term that the young folks is using, and this is what I'm going to pivot around this morning. In this season, God is asking us to be bigger than the program. In this season, see, it's frowned upon to be bigger than the program. In the colloquialism, that means you're an athlete, but you think you're a better athlete than the team. That means you at work, but you think your part that you play in work is bigger than what it actually is. And in this season, as we're transitioning from faith to faith and glory to glory, God is calling on delusions of grandeur because what he's calling you to is outside of your programming. Get this morning, please. Studies say that most foundational programming, meaning beliefs, emotional patterns, identity formation, habits, and subconscious conditioning, happens between birth and the age of 7. From 0 to 2, the brain is rapidly wiring for attachment, safety, trust, and emotional regulation. Children absorb tone, emotion, and environment more than logic. From 2 through 7, this is considered the peak imprint period. Kids operate heavily in imaginative and highly absorbent brain states. They learn self-worth, communication, family patterns, emotional responses, what love, conflict, success, and failure looks like, core beliefs and about themselves and the world. This is ages 2 through 7. From 7 to 12, children begin developing more analytical thinking, but repetition and modeling still strongly shape identity and habits. So what it's saying is the bulk of the programming that you get about self-worth, about what success is, about what love is, what conflict is, comes from the ages of 0 to 7. Why am I saying that? Well, because the vision that God has for you, for your adult life and for your grown life and for your future is bigger than that programming. And right now, as we move, he's calling us to say, hey, listen, I know that I was programmed this way because of how I was born and who I was around from 0 to 7, but God's calling me to something greater. So when I feel myself, because see what happens is, this is what happens. In times of stress and in times of dis-ease, you go back to your programming. This is why if you've ever been speaking to somebody who was not born as English speaking, but they didn't learn how to speak English, but you get into if you get into a heated conversation or argument with them, you'll hear their native tongue come out. And in this season, God's saying, where we going, your native tongue can't come out. I'm calling you to success, so I don't need you to get stressed and revert back to poverty. I'm calling you for to a successful relationship, so I don't need you to get stressed and start bickering with your partner. I'm calling you to be in good health, so I don't need you to get stressed out and start overeating. Because where I'm calling you to is bigger than the program. You got to think, what God is calling us to do in this season. You have to think that you got a job just as big as Noah's job is. Meaning, again, up until this point, these people had never seen any rain. So when you start building this massive boat, you don't have anybody to really tell like that. Hopefully you can find a couple people that believe in you, but you trying to explain a concept to people that they not gonna understand. Some of y'all are called to build businesses. Some of y'all are called to do things in social media with AI, and it's nobody to tell because it ain't never been before. You're being called to be bigger than the program. So when you go tell your mama, she not gonna be able to digest it. She may still support it, but she can't digest it because in this season we're called to be bigger than a program. If you go around somebody who still believe that they can't be wealthy and you start talking faith and wealth talk, it's going to upset the balance of that environment because they quite naturally they are part of an old programming. And God is calling us to reboot the system and remind ourselves of the new programming He's trying to install. See, when Apple do an update on these computers, you cannot update your computer if you don't want to, but eventually it's gonna start messing up because what the computer is being called to do doesn't match the program anymore. And I feel like now more than ever, God is calling us to revisit the vision that He's given us and what He said to us already so that we can be reminded that we're bigger than the program. Let me move. Somebody gonna get that. Let me move. So how do you update that software? Number one, identify the original patterns. Patterns of self-sabotage, patterns of financial habits. These are things you saw from 0 to 7. You saw how people spent. You saw how people made money. Fear responses. You saw what people were afraid of. Some of y'all ain't never rode a roller coaster because your mama's scared of roller coasters. What are your repeating emotional triggers? What beliefs would someone have to hold to repeatedly behave this way? Good gracious, somebody get that. Here goes some examples. Constantly overworking. In some cases, that means that you think your value comes from performance. Avoiding conflict. That means that in some cases you think conflict leads to rejection. Certain success fears and success triggers. In that case, that means success creates danger or pressure. So when we trying to remind ourselves that we bigger than a program, you can't do that without identifying the original things in the program and that make you behave and do things a certain way. I gotta first say, I seen my grandma and them eat like that. I ain't gonna eat like that. Number two, interrupt automatic thoughts. You have to have a process of interrupting those thoughts. You have to have some things that you're gonna say when your mind wanna say I always fail, or nobody cares, or I'm behind, or I'm a bad parent. Pause and ask yourself, is this really true? Where did I learn that from? What evidence do I have that contradicts that? See, sometimes when your brain jump out and saying, oh, I ain't successful, you got to go back to your evidence of all the times you've been a success. This is a good one. Another way to reroute those automatic thoughts. Would I say this to my child? Number three, we trying to break them. So how do we break them and create a new program bigger than the old program? Repetition, repeatedly doing healthy routines, repeatedly doing truthful self-talk, repeated wins, repeated self-relationships. Your old programming was built through what you repeatedly see and say and hear. So that's how your new big program is built. Number four, this is a big one, change of environment. If I know I'm a part of a bigger, a newer program, then I can't go in the places of chaos and criticism and negativity and addiction and hopelessness and dysfunction. I can't even be in here with that. I got to be around some good mentors, some faith-based community. See, this what happened when you click on this page. This is a faith community. People that are emotionally safe, people that are disciplined. I got to have structured routines. I got to be around people that have a healthy marriage when I've been seeing unhealthy marriages. Humans absorb atmosphere. Another one, this is good. Heal the body, not just the mind. Sometimes these negative programmers can live in our body when we're always hyper vigilant. That causes us to tense up. When we always have anxiety about what's around the corner, that causes us to tense up. You want to create a new and bigger program, you got to sleep right, exercise, eat right, get sunlight, learn how to do breath exercises. I'm almost done. Replace the old identity statements. Some of y'all say things you shouldn't say. Ooh, girl, you know I'm toxic like that. You gotta take that out your vocabulary. Ooh, girl, you know I'm just bad with money. Instead, you change that with I'm rebuilding. I'm becoming consistent with money. I'm learning discipline in my finances. Some of this programming, that old programming exists because the original wound never processed. Still holding betrayal, shame, abandonment, humiliation, childhood instability, grief. It's going to require you to open that journal, get some prayer, have trusted conversations, have therapy, reflective solitude. So I'm calling because, and this is what I'm trying to get back to. We're dealing with the season of faith. We're dealing with a season that we're getting life to align with the vision. And the vision that God has called you to requires rewiring and new programming. This is a big one. Create evidence against the old story. If the story is that you don't ever finish things, you can give yourself something to finish in 7 days and finish it. Create a new resume. I'm closing, but remember this: before Noah went out there to build that flood, there was no signs of rain. He spent decades building something massive. People around him likely mocked him. If ain't nobody mocking you, you ain't going after vision. If don't nobody laugh, if don't nobody giggle, if don't nobody say that boy crazy, that girl crazy, you're not going after vision. Because the things that God calling you to ain't nobody ever seen. They ain't never seen it. So you start saying, go, just try it. Give a social experiment. Go out there and start saying something to people that you know ain't nobody ever seen, and see how long it take for people start calling you crazy. But that's what it take to be bigger than the program. Obedience, perseverance, faith before evidence. I ain't never seen nobody do this, God, but I heard you say it to me. I'm going back to this verse and I'm closing. I want you to soak Hebrews 11:7 in. I know I'm rambling, but I just think this is so important. By faith, Noah, when warned about things not yet seen, in holy fear, built an ark to save his family. I'm here today in holy fear that if I don't move on what I heard, then it ain't gonna happen for my family. I'm scared. So I gotta move. I gotta get up. Because if I don't move and I don't start building this ark, then I ain't gonna be able to save my whole family. By faith, Noah, when warned about things not seen. See, when God is giving you a vision, he's giving you a warning. I repeat, when God gives you a vision of what you shall be, that's not necessarily something that's always a dance. Sometimes that thing should make you scared. This is holy fear. He was warned about things not yet seen directly from God. God told him it's gonna be a flood in the land. Go and build an ark that can hold all these people, hold your family. These are parables, but this parable teaches good. All right, folks.